Hi, everybody. Dr. Debunk here, doing another session of the Dr. Debunk Show. I guess that's what this is. But um, this is going to be a quick video. I'm going to start doing videos as they come up on different health articles. A lot of it's going to come from Epoch Times. Epoch Times is a newspaper. It's a great newspaper. I love it. I think I mentioned it. I might have done one of this. But I'm basically going to critique their articles. And most of it will be a good critique. I like their stuff. I like what they say and do. But this one's going to be a little harsher critique. I don't like this article overall. The article is, what's the title here? Let's see here. Reducing zombie cells can keep us younger. Sounds great, right? What's a zombie cell? Well, zombie cells really, what they're saying is a zombie cell. It's an old cell that's losing its function, and then it's finally going to die off. And hopefully it's regenerated before then, and then the old cell is discarded. But they're mixing two subjects here because we have cells that basically hibernate, become non-functional at any age, and then we have what they call zombie cells, and I think it's an appropriate name. But they're mixing the two subjects together, and the article is implying that you can use these two substances that they talk about to maybe reduce the amount of zombie cells or bring them back to life. And part of it's true. They talk about quercetin in, I don't even know how to say it, dasatinib. So quercetin is a natural antioxidant, no problem. But I've talked to you about inflammation and resveratrol, which is way better than quercetin. It just is. So you can look at that. But dasatinib, I guess that's dasatinib. That's a drug, a power. It's a chemotherapy drug. It's used for leukemia and other cancers. And its function is it blocks tyrosine kinase. Tyrosine kinase is a powerful enzyme. Enzymes are critical. They are the main building block of the human body. We are comprised of 3,000 families of enzymes, and they do all the work to rebuild the body all the time. And so this is a major one in these enzyme rebuilding reactions, and that drug blocks it. And so it affects cellular growth rate. So of course you want to slow down cellular growth rate in cancers. So whether it's appropriate to use it or not for cancer treatment, that's not the scope of what we're talking about here. That is the whole dilemma with modern day treatment of cancer. They're giving you poisonous drugs that are supposed to kill the cancer cells before it kills you and give you more life. It does seem to work, but there are so many problems with it. In fact, I need to do a video on this. Video on chemo radiation types of cancer treatment. Duh, I should have done this a while ago. Because I have many patients, they are hardcore. They refuse to do any chemo or any kind of cancer treatment from doctors. And that's a double-edged sword. I have issues with almost all the treatments. I don't know what I would do if I ever got cancer, whether I would use standard medical treatment. Maybe. I'd definitely use surgery. Anyway, I'd tell them to chop all the cancer out of me until they couldn't chop anymore. But that's the next video. So back to this. So the first problem with this article, I mean, the information is correct. I like it. But they're promoting indirectly the use of this chemotherapy agent, dasatinib, and that, no way. No healthy non-cancer person should be taking that drug. Because yes, it's blocking the tyrosine kinase activity in the cancer cells, but it's blocking it in all your cells. So you're not addressing cancer because you don't have it. You're just screwing up your ability to remake healthy cells. No way. Just because it may work for some medical conditions doesn't mean in the long run it's not going to toast you. And so quercetin's fine. Any kind of antioxidant, anti-inflammatory therapy you want to do that's natural, and there's curcumin, which is what's in the spice turmeric, and there's quercetin, and then of course the best is resveratrol. But the premier one was anandamide, but the drug companies wiped that out. You can't have anandamide out there because the drug companies would lose billions of dollars because of how effective this stuff was. And still today, no one's making it. I think I talked about that. Anyway, so the article is talking about zombie cells, but it's not really explaining to you that we also have hibernating cells. Mammalian cells hibernate. We hibernate, but it's more of a circulatory phenomenon, a lack of adequate circulation phenomenon. So the human body, to protect itself from dying at a cellular level, cells will go into a hibernation state. They become non-functional, so they have because they only have a very small amount of blood supply, and so now it takes very little energy to stay alive because the cell is hoping that circulation will be restored. And we are starting to lose circulation for a bunch of reasons, and I don't know if I did the video on this. Maybe I think it's in the inflammatory video, or maybe it's probably in the circulatory video. But we're aging and dying 2 to 3% faster based on lack of circulation and increased inflammation with age. And so that triggers cells every year to become non-functional and hibernate. Now that's not what they're talking about, but they're kind of implying it's the same thing. So zombie cells is a accelerated pathological process where cells aren't working right because they're aging too fast. So it's related. Anyway, it's just important to distinguish that. But things that would reduce the formation of zombie cells and make our cells live to their optimum age before they regenerate. Because you got to understand that cells like brain cells, they never regenerate. So there's no zombie cells per se in brain cells. There's just brain cells that aren't working because they're not getting adequate circulation. Now, it's much more complex than that. But the point is, this article is bringing up an important point. And I already forget, what did they say about some different techniques that seem to reduce zombie cells, but they're actually techniques that help, which I need to do more research, but I think cellular hibernation is the bigger issue. So they talk about exercising and autophagy and calorie restriction, meditation. I don't care about that. But I'm prejudiced. I'm a fundamental Christian. I've told you that. So prayer, not medication. Holistic approach. All this stuff is good. But basically, the most important thing here to address zombie cells and hibernating cells is hard exercise, calorie restriction. There's no doubt about it. That if we could stop overeating so much, and I don't know how to do it. I'm struggling myself. Everybody struggles with it, which is going to be a video coming up. Anyway, I'll talk about that. It has hit my brain, finally, that there now exists the ability to combine 2 different weight loss programs. I've done a lot of weight loss, and I think I talked about it some. But with this new advent of these drugs, semaglutide, Ozempic, Mounjaro, Zepbound, Wegovy, it's an obsession now. And I'm going to talk about it because the drug companies, the evil drug companies, are behind what's going on here. And they are going to addict 20% of Americans to these drugs, GLP-1 and 2 inhibitors, to manage your weight, to stay at a lesser weight. Because every time you get off the drug, you'll gain some back. They're going to addict you to stay on these drugs, which we already know are going to have long-term side effects. They seem safe in the short term, short years. But they are engaging in they're going to make more money on these drugs than any drugs they could ever have dreamed of. billions and billions of dollars. It will exceed the money they made on Viagra, you know. And I want to talk about that. But using them correctly, short term, in these cycles that I'm doing now with my patients, game changer. The biggest problem I've had is, I'm way off topic, but is people learning how to maintain weight fast enough so that they don't gain the weight back that they lost, and so that they never really lose. See, people gain and lose and gain and lose and gain and lose. We've been doing it since 1960s. This is a game changer. And next week I'll probably do it. I need to prep a little bit, but it is a game changer on weight. It is. Anyway, so back to this. So to reduce zombie cells and to reduce hibernating cells, exercise, carb control, along with calorie control, but carb control more than anything. Managing your mental stress are the big things. So I just wanted to address it for those of you that look at Epic Times. You'll hear about this. It's not wrong. It's just never, never, ever should you use drugs long term to fix a problem. If you can use it short term, get off it, change your lifestyle so you don't need it. And then chemotherapy drugs, I can't think of any reason someone should ever take one in a situation like this. If you don't have cancer, you don't take chemotherapy drugs. Period, no exceptions. And that's the big point I want to make. That's the biggest problem I have with it. They're implying that it would be a good thing. They're not telling you to do it, but no way. It's madness. Drug therapies are for disease-based people. They have no relevance to healthy people that want to stay there. Okay, so that's the first thing. I don't even remember if I said that these videos are, I'm going to call them tidbits. They're tidbits of health. And so that was a little tidbit of health, although I've been yakking for 12 minutes. I don't know how that happens. But I wanted to do another little tidbit because I did the pollution theory of aging. And I forgot to mention this. See that? Gaviscon. I don't have anything against this company other than this is an antacid like Tums or whatever brand. And antacids are fine, except these kind of antacids. Now, I don't know if they make regular antacids, which is calcium carbonate, but they're making this with aluminum hydroxide. And they put some magnesium carbonate in here, which wouldn't be bad either. But wait a second. Aluminum hydroxide? Is aluminum one of the most well-documented toxins out there? Aluminum is a metal that will kill you dead. We find, I don't know, 1 in 1,000, I don't know what the number is, people with dementia, and we know exactly why they have dementia, because you do an MRI of their brain, and their brain is filled with aluminum. And we don't know why the body sticks it there. But we are getting exposed to way too much aluminum. Ideally, we would never get it in our mouth. And you're drinking aluminum? It's madness. And, it's something I'd forgotten about, and then I saw this one day. So I don't care about this company, but if they do, this product should be banned. No aluminum in your body, period. It's just insanity. So that's a little side thing. It kind of goes along with the pollution theory, Next little tidbit that's come up is COVID-19 update, because you're hearing about this new strain of COVID, and it's out there and it's strong, and it is. It's stronger than the Omicron that replaced the Delta variant back in January of 22. And it actually is getting people fairly sick. But what do you get? A strong flu. Some people have had a little bit of loss of smell, and you're sick for a week. But that's it. But they're talking and you can hear it, oh my gosh, the zombie's coming back. This is the virus zombie. It's going to eat your kids' eyeballs out. And why are they doing it? Because they want you to go get that vaccine. And as I've made very clear, you are crazy if you get an RNA vaccine, COVID or not. There's 6 of them now. well, let's see, how many are there? Well, I'm not going to count. Doesn't matter. The flu, it's a flu vaccine from Johnson Johnson. It's a DNA, but HPV, hepatitis B now. Anyway, they want to make all vaccines RNA modifiers. You cannot let your children have these vaccines. You are destroying your child. You're scrambling their DNA, potentially. Yes, it seems like the bulk of people don't have any external evidence that the vaccine lasts for a couple weeks and goes away and you're fine. But we don't know that. What if every single person to a degree, it's like saying, and they do this anyway, this Botox injection stuff. I got a problem with that. But it's like saying a little bit of strychnine won't hurt you. Yes. No, a better analogy is alcohol. It's more clear now, and I believe this crap too, that a little bit of alcohol isn't bad for you because we can break it down. It's natural. We make it as a byproduct. But the truth is that's not true. That alcohol is slowly wearing out your liver. So every bit of it you drink affects you. But we have a huge capacity, and so it seems like, the study suggests you can drink a glass of wine every day for 90 years, almost, and maybe 80. You can still live to be 95. And sometimes we see centurions that have drank, but what they don't tell you is they quit. Most people quit drinking in their 70s or 80s. So it's one of these dirty little things. So the reality is all RNA vaccines should not be used, even if it doesn't seem to hurt you, because for one, they're junky. So anyway, I got sidetracked. I despise the vaccine so much. I've seen what it do. It killed 2 of my patients. Don't tell me how nice it is, how effective it is, because it's a crappy vaccine anyway. It doesn't even work very well, even if it was perfect. So COVID-19 is going to be around for the rest of the summer. This is a summer variant. It's stronger than the last one. I don't even know the name of it. I don't care. Just ignore it. You'll get the flu. You might get a pretty chunky flu, where you're sick for 7 days, pretty crappy in the middle. That's it. It'll go away. And then the last thing is a quick update on CEPI. I'm going to do a full search of their website. CEPI is that evil organization. It stands for the Coalition of Epidemic Preparedness Initiative, and it's a foundation made by the richest people in the world, and we know how much they love us. They love us cockroaches. I mean people. And so they're dedicated to the 100-day plan, which means all the billions of dollars they're getting every year from the richies is dedicated to creating awareness and getting us ready for the next pandemic. And within 100 days of the next pandemic, they want like 50 million vaccines to be administered so that people will be protected. Yeah, right. So they have done an update a while ago, and I'll do a detailed video about it. But now they've changed tunes. Instead of an upper respiratory COVID type vaccine, a virus that would give you not just an upper respiratory infection, it would cause pneumonia, and if you have the wrong genotype, it's going to kill you, which is kind of what COVID did. Because COVID was definitely genetically targeting people. Someday they'll figure out, maybe. I don't think we have the science yet to know the genotypes of that. Anyway, now they've changed tunes. And I mentioned this about going after kids, but now it's a different way. They're talking about an encephalopathic virus. They're talking about a virus that can cause encephalitis, which is meningitis. So when you say meningitis, you're talking about a bacteria infection of your brain and central nervous system. If it's a virus, we call it encephalitis. And encephalitis is generally not as bad as meningitis. But they're talking about an encephalopathic type virus that will infect you and 3 times easier infect children and give them encephalitis and kill them. Outright. There you go. So I'll do a detailed thing on it. But just for those of you that have heard about it, this is out a little bit. They're not really putting it out there. When they want the news cycle to change, they tell all the media outlets to put their stuff out. And that hasn't happened yet, because we're December 25 is so far still the date that the next pandemic will start. But so that's what CEPI has done. And I'm going to do another video in a few weeks giving you an update because I haven't looked at about 3 months at them. They are doing these frequent updates talking about, because now they've done 2 artificial exercise, 2, fake, 2 simulated exercises of the next pandemic. And the last one is when they changed their tune about what kind of virus it was going to be. I mean, these people are so arrogant. They know we can't do anything about it. And they're going to tell us exactly what they're going to do to us. And hopefully, I feel confident we'll have some really good measures. I am not the only one that's aware of this. And I mean, there's no doubt that McCullough, Malone, and Corey and the people at Frontline know what's going on here. And if they do it to us, anyway, that's the last little tidbit update of stuff that I've done and want to update you on it. But that's it. So I'm Dr. Debunk, and as a little advertising, I realized last time I haven't done a video for men on testosterone, and it's relevant to women too. So I'm going to do that right now, and it'll be the next video up that you would be able to get access to also. Thanks for watching. I'm Dr. Debunk.